Imagine, you're lying on an operating table surrounded by doctors. You've just been anesthetized, but you're awake. One of the surgeons approaches and says, "Now please start counting out loud from 1 to 10. This is not a scene from science fiction or a nightmare. It's the reality of neurosurgery. Every year, thousands of brain surgeries around the world are performed while the patient is fully conscious. It sounds terrifying, but behind it lies deep science and incredible precision. The brain is not just an organ, it's an entire universe, where each region is responsible for something unique. Speech, movement, vision, memory, emotions, even personality. And unlike other parts of the body, the brain doesn't feel pain. It has no pain receptors. That's why it can be operated on without general anesthesia. But the real reason for awake brain surgery isn't just biology, it's necessity. If a surgeon makes a mistake of even a few millimeters, the patient could lose the ability to speak, move, or even recognize loved ones. To prevent that, surgeons literally ask the patient to cooperate during the operation. These kinds of surgeries are usually performed to remove tumors located deep within areas responsible for critically important functions, for example, the speech center. Before the surgery begins, doctors conduct complex brain mapping using MRI and functional tomography, but even the most advanced technologies can't tell with absolute certainty where, in a specific individual, something like the area responsible for music perception or childhood memories is located. Each person's brain is slightly unique, like fingerprints. That's where awake craniotomy comes in. After initial sedation, the patient is given local anesthesia and the skull is opened. Then they are gently woken up. Yes, right there on the operating table, with their skull open. It sounds horrifying, but patients usually describe the feeling as strange rather than painful. During this time, neuropsychologists or cognitive specialists begin interacting with the patient, asking them to talk about themselves, read words, play a musical instrument, or simply look at faces. Meanwhile, the surgeons electrically stimulate specific parts of the brain. If, during stimulation, the patient suddenly stops speaking or begins to confuse words, it's a signal. This area must not be touched. Thanks to this method, doctors can literally navigate around vital areas of the brain like a sapper in a minefield. And that's no exaggeration. There are cases where surgeons remove a tumor located in the very center of the speech area without harming a single important neuron. The patient continues to talk throughout the entire procedure. Sometimes they joke, sometimes they cry. These emotions aren't side effects. They are key to confirming that the brain is functioning correctly. One of the most famous cases of awake neurosurgery is the story of an opera singer who had a tumor near the area responsible for musical perception. During surgery, he was asked to sing, and when the surgeons got too close to a dangerous zone, his voice would start to tremble or fade. That's how they found the boundary. He left the operating room with his voice preserved. Today, he still performs on stage. Awake surgery is not just a medical achievement, it's a deeply human act. Doctors aren't just treating the body, they're interacting with consciousness itself, with what makes us who we are. And there's something almost philosophical in that. The brain, aware that it's being operated on, helps preserve itself. Of course, such a surgery requires not only the highest qualification from doctors, but also incredible bravery from the patient. Before the procedure, each patient is carefully consulted. The risks and specifics are explained. Some require psychological preparation, but most patients, surprisingly, are optimistic because they understand this procedure gives them a chance not just to survive, but to live a full life. Interestingly, awake surgeries have even inspired cinema. In TV shows and films, it's often portrayed with dramatic exaggeration, where the patient is shocked, can't move, or screams in fear. In reality, it's much calmer and more technical. The medical team works like an orchestra, coordinated, confident. The room is quiet, interrupted only by the patient's voice. Their voice is the main guide, the main safety tool. And perhaps the most amazing thing, after the most complex part of the surgery is complete, the patient is put back into light sedation and the remaining procedures are finished without their participation. Sometimes they wake up with a feeling that it's all behind them, and sometimes with a sense of wonder, because few people in life can say, I was conscious while my brain was being operated on, and I helped the doctors preserve my identity. Science, medicine, and the human being, these are the three key components of this incredible practice. And every such operation is not just a step forward in surgery. It's a reminder of how fragile and at the same time strong human nature can be. The brain, being the greatest mystery of the universe, allows us to look deep into ourselves and sometimes even take part in our own salvation.